What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the one and only Rumboyz Fantasy Network. It's your boy, RumboyzRobbie. That is my co-host, TDS Taco. What is going on, bro?
Chilling, my brother. Having a little humble pie from last week, but, you know, it is what it is.
Last week was, it was different. It was what we're gonna get into. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, as a content creator, I like to own my shit. And man, did Justin Fields let me down. Fucked him up a lot.
So you know what? We can kind of like lead off with that. I brought up the injury concerns like last week.
No, absolutely. I'm not
going to try and say commentator first, but
yeah. Oh well, I mean, I think that it's something to do with it. Although my other thought here, and again, now that we get more data, maybe Pittsburgh's defense isn't as good as we thought. Maybe that's what I got after 2 weeks. Because how does Fields go from I'm like, and then now all of a sudden I'm like.
Or maybe it could have just been a bad week. You know, we're gonna dive all into it.
My last thing, the next week, what Seattle put up 21, 24? How much Seattle put up? Seattle got a good game.
Yeah.
Was going down.
Seattle got it together. Seattle went back.
That's 2 weeks now. He hasn't showed up.
Yep. Seattle went back. They looked at the film and they were like, you know what? We had some good flashes in week one. We had some things there. Let's capitalize off the good things that happened. Let's, learn from the bad, but let's move forward and go out there and play some fucking football. You know what? They sure did. We have a lot to talk about fantasy football faithful, my fantasy football family, my betting family. I hope that everyone is doing well. I hope that everyone had an amazing weekend. I hope that you won your fantasy football matchups. And if you didn't, we are going to get you back on track. Okay. First things first, I do want to lead us off with the injury report. Starting off with our injury report is Joe Burrow. Big Joe is Big Joe right now with turf toe. Going to be missing 3 months. We actually are giving a date, surprisingly, on this one. How the fuck we already have a anticipated date? I guess given the fact that turf toe is a pretty common injury that has happened over the course of eons in this sport, fair enough. But the expected date for Joe Burrow's return is 12/14/2025. What you're thinking about doing if you have Joe Burrow, I'm going to just go on record and say what I've done. I have went ahead and I moved on. I have dropped him. I have dropped him. In terms of redraft. Dynasty, I have a little bit more flexibility. The one Dynasty league that I do have him, I have Jake Browning. So it's just a,
I would say if you have a couple of IR spots, it doesn't hurt. But when push comes to shove, he's the first one to go.
Yeah, if you're in a league where you have 1 or 2 IR spots, waiting for this man to come back in December 14th, that's a no-go for me, bro. Yeah. No.
But I mean, if I'm a good team that waited long for a QB and I know that I could wait on him, that's a sneaky play too. Like if I'm a built team that I like, okay, I may be using like Jordan Love and Drake May as my quarterbacks, and I see Joe Burrow on the wire and I got an IR spot, I'm making that move because he should be ready for the playoffs.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Jaden Daniels, day to day right now. This one is very interesting just because we think we know Jaden. We haven't seen Jaden deal with like an injury, like really kind of. I mean, we kind of seen him, get banged up, kind of shake things off. So like we know that he is tough. He is saying that as long as he's able to go, he is going to be out there. That is from the player. If we were still a fan, what I will say is I would prefer if we rest them. What I will say is that there's a chance that he might be rested just given that this is a new regime. If we were still in the, Shanahan, Dan Schneider days, and this was RG3, I'd be saying, oh yeah, for sure. They're going to throw him out there because they're not going to care. This organization has a little bit more ethics, so we'll see how this gets handled. This may be one of those things where it's going to be out of Jaden's hands, and the organization is going to look after the player and the future of the franchise versus just trying to go out there and win in week 3 when we have a whole season.
Not only a whole season, that's the franchise quarterback. You don't want to do anything long term that might hinder him or like stop him from being able to, like, I think it was RG3. He was trying to fight through too many injuries. Next thing you know, when he comes back, he's just not the same player.
So exactly. Exactly. I mean, we'll see. I mean, but we've seen running quarterbacks, the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, where they do play through these types of things. So we'll see. He did play through it Thursday night. So
yeah. And here's my other question. Size-wise, how is he compared to like a Josh Allen? Like Josh Allen's a pretty big dude. So it's like not only can he run, but he's big.
He's put on weight. So I mean, I don't know how much that may affect to even attributing to the injury also happening. I mean, but it was a hip drop tackle that caused the injury. So it's literally just going to be a play it by ear. Austin Eckler, Achilles out for the season. The best way to navigate around that is like, hey, you need to be hopefully, going to grab some of these running backs that we're going to talk about down the list here. Evan Ingram, calf strain. Jaden Reed, broken collarbone. I did get news today that surgery went well. Surgery went fucking fantastic today. So shout outs to Jaden Reed. Josh Allen, broken nose, should be fine. I think for the most part, we'll see. Justin Fields concussion, not going to play. If you know anything about the NFL concussion protocol, it's usually it carries over into the next week. Aaron Jones, hamstring, going to be missing some time, and JJ McCarthy, ankle, going to be missing about 2 to 4 weeks. Taco, I will let you go after we get to these questions really quick. Getting offered Tyreek, Cook, and Pittman for JSN and Swifty. Would love to get your thoughts. I'm leaning towards keeping my players. I'm leaning towards you keeping your players. JSN in week 1 was out targeted more than the entire team. And then also JSN had an epic performance in week 2. I only think that it's going to get better the more that team establishes chemistry. I think that week 2 was just the beginning. And then you also compliment the fact that Kenneth Walker, what he's doing on the ground, it's opening up for those big runs. And if we start getting a healthy dose, look, JSN's floor is 8 targets per game. That's the floor. That's the fucking floor. I'm keeping JSN at any and all cost. JSN at this point of the season, as things stand right now, is untradeable. And Swift is probably the most prolific player on that Chicago Bears offense who's not named Rome Odunze in terms of fantasy football. Are these sexy names when you talk about, football to your NFL just purists, like to your NFL, like when you're sitting at the bar, you're talking NFL with your friends? No, they're going to be like, what the fuck? But when we're talking fantasy football, those are guys that you want. Tyreek is not going to is not it, and is not going to cook. And Miami's just ill, not going to be great. They still didn't even really look his way last week. Cook is probably the best one that you're getting in that package. And Pittman, yes, is doing great. But my gosh, just what JSN and Swift are doing, if they can maintain what they are doing right now, then they could very well be league winners. I don't know how you're there. You go. Now you're
talking about James Cook, though, right?
Yeah, I assume he's talking about James.
I mean,
Cook.
If that's James Cook, that's a tough deal to navigate because James Cook's looking fantastic. He's making a lot of big plays and a lot of big runs with a lot of big upside. And Tyreek is a wild card. I mean, I guess I would have to think: is this for the season and or is it a dynasty? If it's from a dynasty perspective, I would keep.
It's Aiden. This is a redraft. Like I said, I love the balance and the volume of what I'm already getting out of JSN and Swifty. So it's like, yes, I'm basically getting James Cook, and then I'm also thinking, God forbid, obviously, anything happening to Daniel Jones. I don't want Pittman back with AR. This is the best Pittman that we're getting right now. But then I also worry about with Pittman is what if Daniel Jones ever goes back to being Daniel Jones? So like that's why I'm saying I feel like keep JSN and Swift.
You know, he didn't have the best week one versus Baltimore, but he got the touchdown. James Cook. Week 2 versus the Jets, he had 21 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. Honestly, I would have to lean towards the Cook side because Cook's overall potential is a top 5 player this year. If you account for his touchdowns last year and you account for his rushing upside,
Aiden, what's your record?
In a redraft,
Aiden, what's your record? My dynasty teams have an age 27 cap. Tyreek and Pittman would never even touch my roster. Exactly. Yeah. So no. But with this, like what's your record? I'm assuming just by you having JSN and Swift without even looking at the rest of the roster, that's a 2-0 team. I'm assuming right now he's sitting at 2-0.
And I would say probably Cook and JSN are neutral, but the upside is with Tyreek over Swift, in my opinion.
He's 2-0. I thought so. Let me guess the record of the other person: either 1-1 or 0-1. I can almost guarantee the other person with those 3 pieces, because Cook is probably the only one doing the heavy lifting, which means that Cook is the only person that has value on his team, which means he's trying to unload the other pieces to rebalance out his team. The other person's 2-0. Wow, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
I mean, Tyreek Hill in the last game had 6 catches for 109.
The 2 is not gonna fucking last the whole season.
I mean,
would you drop Golden for Troy Franklin or A Manor? I have number 1 this week in waivers. Who else on your there's someone else on your team that's droppable. There's someone else on your team.
Not dropping a top 10 pick yet. You're not dropping in top 10 rounds. I mean,
I'm getting close. I'm getting close to getting to the point to where I'm out on Green Bay pass catchers. I mean, but I've been saying that. I also don't have shares of them for this exact reason.
I will say that with the guy being hurt with the collarbone injury.
Okay, so he has a boss lineup. So he's pretty much giving you what he's not going, he's pretty much giving you what he's not going to use because of the top end talent that he has. Fuck that. I'm not getting stuck holding the bag with Tyreek because Tyreek is likely not going to last you the whole season. 2-0 in the league and 1-1 in the rest. What up, Daniel? What up? Let's get into some of these waiver ads. Okay, I do want to get into some of these waiver ads because these are going to probably answer a lot of some of you guys' questions. Starting off with the quarterbacks, if you lost a quarterback, these are my top picks. Okay, so if you lost, Fields, you're worried about Allen, what his availability is going to be, Burrow, Jaden Daniels, this is what we're going to be working with. Russell Wilson, 4% rostered currently. after that performance that he put up out there in Dallas, I know that they're going to be playing against Kansas City. I know that Spags is one hell of a defensive mind. You beggars can't be choosers if you did lose a Jaden or a something, someone or the other. Russell Wilson is an option. Another option is Sam Darnold, 10% rostered, not shying away from it. And then we also have Daniel Jones, 5% rostered. Are we believing in Indiana Jones? We talked about this a little bit last week.
And I did, again, and this was something that I brought up before. I've been burned by Daniel Jones before because he's shown this before. He's shown flashes. He can throw it, he can run, he can occasionally make the reads right. But does it last? Does it last? Remember, he went to the playoffs. He had a good, I would say, end of his rookie year, beginning of the second year. He has all the skills and talent, but does he have the mental capacity to put it together and keep it together? I'm starting to think yes. And the reason why is the coach. That coach seems like he has an amazing pulse of that team. And he's seemingly putting Jones in places to win and using Taylor in such an amazing way to help carry a lot of the burden from Daniel Jones, like Saquon Barkley did, where you can't just sit back and drop everyone back. And Jones is throwing it deep enough that you can't bring everyone in for the run. I think with the coaching that they have with the Colts, we always say, how do they make it to 8-8 with nobody? I think this is the year that Daniel Jones, actually, from a fantasy standpoint, just because of his gameplay, could be QB1. By that, I mean a top 12 QB.
It is Tennessee, so it is a little bit of a softer matchup. Because I am in some leagues a situation where I have lost Joe Burrow, so this, that, and the third. It has pretty much waned a little bit heavy on my mind if I am going to go ahead and I'm placing a waiver in on Daniel Jones. And you know what? Damn it, I'm letting you guys know right here, right now. I am placing a waiver on Daniel Jones. I am reluctantly starting him. I am not saying that you guys should go out there and you guys need to be starting Daniel Jones heading into week 3. If you do not need to, I am still saying let's proceed with caution because this thing can come back down to earth very fucking soon. Do I think that it's going to happen against Tennessee? Probably not. Right now, the line is set at 43.5. If one thing that Tennessee does have is that they do have a pretty decent, hungry defense. Simmons just got paid on that defensive side. So we know he's going to go out there and he's going to try and, show him, hey, this is why you gave me the bag and you're going to keep me around, to build something. Cam Ward is looking to prove something. Eric Amenor is looking like a guy that, you're going to want to grab off of waivers. We're going to talk about him when we get into wide receivers. Daniel Jones, 588 yards, 2 TDs. Like, the man is balling already early in the season. Right now, start him while you can until you're waiting for your guys to get back and while he's playing at this level. And just hope that he does not fizzle out while you have him. And that's kind of like my spiel there. Another question, I have no QB3, and Love and Kyler both have buys in the next 5 weeks. How much fab out of 200 would you spend on each of Browning? I have Chase, Wentz, and Dylan Gabriel. Well, Browning is probably the one that you're going to want to go after the most, just because and Browning's not on this list just because a lot of fantasy managers are already going to go towards Browning. When we're talking about a fab situation, we're talking about the amount of quarterbacks this early that are already getting hurt. Even teams that have healthy quarterbacks are already thinking, damn, if it's already shaping up like this right now, I need to have a backup to my backup plan, which we did see last year. where a lot of people had to play that style of fantasy football last year. I know I lost Jordan Love last year, or in very extensive amount of time. So for your situation, I would say, yo, I'm throwing at least 20 on Jake Browning, just so that I have that in case something happens to either Love or Kyler, given the style of play that they have and given the injury history of either. Yeah, let me go ahead and let me have Browning. Dylan Gabriel is eventually going to become the QB of the Browns. It's probably going to happen sooner than later. How soon it is going to happen, just wait and see. But for now, you need to buy in on the safe cash, and the safe cash out of the options that you have is Jake Browning. Let's see here. I already addressed that one. Let's get back into the waivers. I want to talk about running backs. And I really only have two here that I want to bring up and I want to highlight. But they're the most important too, because we did bring them up last week. And this is our I told you so moment of the show. Trey Benson and Bashal Tootin. Benson, 50% available. There's a 50-50 shot, a freaking coin flip that he might be available in your fantasy football league. Make sure that you guys open up another tab. Keep this show running, but open up another tab and go and check. And then also with Tootin, 47% availability. Listen, Benson is looking like a fringe start right now. Okay? If anything were to happen to Connor, this is a cash cow that I want you bought in sooner rather than later. And it's already looking like with even Connor there that he is potentially flex play viable on a week-to-week basis. He is going up against the San Francisco 49ers. This is a divisional matchup. A way that I think that the Cardinals win this is through the run.
And can I quote James Conner from earlier in the season? I am not a 1. This is a 1A and a 1B situation. Trey Benson has established himself and he should see more runs. That's what James Conner said. That's the starter.
Yeah.
Talking about Trey Benson in the preseason, mentioning how much you've seen the improvement. My man knew what time it was early on, and he's already basically told us we might see not quite a Detroit-type backfield, but you can see a beautiful complement between these two guys. And I think one of the coolest things with Benson that we saw in these games is that in the first game, he did it 8 rushes or 69 yards. He had 1 catch. In the second game, he had 3 rushes for 14 yards, but he followed that up with 4 catches for 30 yards. So he's used in both assets of running and throwing it out of the backfield to the back, which to me is a beautiful thing. That means they feel comfortable with him anywhere and everywhere. And like we know, there could be a chance that James Conner may get hurt or something may break down, or maybe he's compromised and they're like, let's run Trey. It is a perfect time to scoop him now, leave him on the bench, let it grow, let it go. Just get him down.
And the leagues I have to start 2 flexes, I'm already putting them out there. Do I trade AJ Brown for Jalen Warren and Pickens? Yes, that is a quick yes, absolutely. AJ
I
Brown
would do it just with Jalen Warren at this point.
Yeah. Look. Jalen Warren and Pickens are proving themselves fantasy viable right now. AJ Brown is looking like there are other receivers that have not looked as hot. AJ Brown, though, is looking like one where it's like I'm starting to hit the panic button and I'm doing it sooner rather than later.
And the other thing is he showed this last year. So now it's not like, no, this was what happened last year. He's a better player in real life than he is in fantasy football just because of the way the team runs that offense.
Yep, no, absolutely. Cowboys have a week 10 bye. JJ McCarthy might be back by then. JJ McCarthy will be back by then. JJ McCarthy will be back by then because Karama has Dak as his fill-in with JJ out. Potential comeback player of the year. This is the second chance to rewrite history. Jacob over on Twitch, Jacob4. What's up? Give us a follow. My waivers right now, no fab priority in order. Dropping Caleb Johnson for Tootin, Sampson, for Franklin McCarthy, or I'm sorry, dropping Johnson for Tootin, Sampson for Franklin, McCarthy for Daniel Jones, and Fields for Drake May. I'm going to rate all of these ad drops absolutely A+, okay? Because the McCarthy stock, I'm already bought out. I'm not playing this game of, am I going to get what I saw the fourth quarter of week 1, or, am I going to get what I saw in week 2? Are you getting the system down? Are you adjusted to the NFL? You know what? You didn't really pass that much in Michigan. I'm really starting to buy into that narrative now. I'm washing my hands with McCarthy. I'm through. So I'd much rather probably have Daniel Jones on my roster at this moment. At least he has a little NFL rust on him. Fields for May. May is playing fucking great ball right now. Fields has an injury history. We love the Fields experiment. It was great upside. Came into the season with a knee injury. Then in week 2 gets a concussion. Football's a very rough sport, and I think that's only going to continue to happen on and off throughout the season. Sampson, you can probably get ready to drop just because Judkins is in town, and they're definitely going to be leaning towards him. He had about 21 carries last week, and I think that is only going to get better. And then also Jerome Ford, they're still heavy on Jerome Ford, and Sampson kind of got phased out of the picture. So that's kind of the way that I see that. And then the Johnson for Tootin is just obvious. Let's see here. Half point PPR, 12 team. 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flexes. Can be a tight end. Fields, Chase Brown, Pollard, Lamb, JSN, Bowers, Adunze, Bill, Packers kicker, Packers defense, bench, McCarthy, Sampson, Caleb Johnson, Golden, Juwan. So yeah, with all the moves that you just talked about, Jacob, fucking perfect. Though the moves that you talked about, these ad drops with this roster, every move that you just talked about, it's all for the better. It's all to make things better. What I do want to say about Pollard is find a way off of that stock. He is flex play at best. See if maybe we can move him to somewhere else, and we can get stock up there. And you're 2-0. I like it. You're 2-0, and you're doing the right moves to make yourself even better.
I think that with the JSN, Bowers, Adunye, Bill, Lamb, that is a solid core there. I'm not gonna lie, Chase Brown is fucking scaring the shit out of me. His average yards per carry is absolutely abysmal. In the next 4 games, he does have some tough teams. We just really have to hope that they're going to start throwing him the ball more. But that might be someone that maybe you can package and upgrade there as well. That's someone that personally I am side-eyeing right now and just kind of like I may want to move off him.
I'm with you there, Taco. And to Matt's question that I have here on the screen, kind of echoing your sentiments.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. I would
know what's really hard is that you invested so much capital in Chase Brown and that he has such electric upside with the catching that in 1 or 2 games he could blow up. But I think that the Devontae touchdown and that consistency that Dallas's offense will be, I would say a 30-point scoring offense makes him kind of safe.
But this is fantasy football. After the draft, it doesn't matter what about what you invested in a player. That's your team. That's what it's built in. It's about
I can't say that before October. We're not even in October yet. I can't do that.
It's about how you move and you pivot, throughout the season. That makes you a really damn good GM. Drafting great is great, but your draft is not your end all be all of your season. To Taco's point, I would be starting Javonte over Chase Brown this week. It is a much better matchup with a much more healthier offense that can help.
Here's the thing,
Javonte.
Chase Brown has gotten almost every carry in the backfield, so it's not about his carries. He's just not doing anything with them currently, which kind of sucks. And then it seems like they're going to more of a throwing offense. Maybe it was the game plan since they were down, but I thought Brown would get more involvement in the passing game. So I am, again, like you, if I have a better play, I would probably move off. But again, you got to make a decision based on your roster and who you feel comfortable putting in. Not everyone has a Javonte Williams sitting on the bench.
Absolutely. Hey, not everyone during the draft season. People that ended up with Javonte Williams, the sentiment was it's slow enough. Javonte Williams was one of those
Yeah,
situations where he has to get drafted somewhere. He has to end up on somebody's team. And if you just so happen to end up with them, you're like, holy fuck. You know, you were the person that we always have one of these picks every year where it's like, whoa, you got that person on your team and everyone in the room laughs at you and it ends up working, and
yeah.
Javonte's that player this year. Let's get into
I mean,
wide
hey,
receivers.
you're gonna almost feel the same way about ATN. That's gonna be one of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. ETN was one that a lot of people were kind of in and out on. Let's get into wide receivers. Uh, I like I said, bro, they're gonna be passing
Yes,
with Browning. I mean,
currently Chase Brown is the goal line back. No one else has gotten any carries. Again,
yeah,
he's just not doing anything.
no one's doing anything in that backfield. They have no offensive line for them to do anything.
Although last year he did, so I don't know.
Let's get into wide receivers. Wan'Dale Robinson, 25% availability. Wan'Dale had a good week. Now, are the Giants going to go out there and put up 30 plus points every single week? No. But because of who they have at quarterback, he has the ability to distribute the ball in ways that weren't able to be done in years past. So this does make Wan'Dale Robinson a guy that you may want to go out there and grab.
I'll say this also: Wan'Dale Robinson is a PPR monster, as he showed flashes last year as well. It's not necessarily him catching the long pass; it's him having 5 catches for 80 yards and maybe a touchdown. I do think if I'm looking at a guy like Wan'Dale, I'm probably just going to want to start him in the good matchups and bench him in the bad matchups because it's really quarterback dependent. And Russ can cook, and he could get cooked. So I think you really got to play it by ear. Like that matchup versus Washington wasn't the best, but this matchup versus the Cowboys was a much better one as we expected a shootout. I would probably let Vegas kind of dictate the way I go. When you see that Vegas has the total score of like 35, 42, I would probably stay away. You're above 40, start really looking at him. Over 43, I'm definitely playing him, especially
Yeah.
as a flex.
Um, Elric Amenor. Elric Amenor it's unique because we have to remember a couple of things with this Tennessee offense. Elric is a rookie, just like Cam is a rookie. So there is going to be that special bond between those two. Elric is benefiting in this Tennessee offense because Calvin Ridley is so damn good that he is dictating so much more of the coverage. While Calvin Ridley is not the hot name in fantasy football on that Tennessee offense, Elric Elmayor is. Get familiar. I'm saying right now, Adam, I think this is definitely a safe stash and probably one of the better plays on that offense. Hunter Renfrow, 2% rostered. I know that this is supposed to be the fill-in for Jalen Coker, but as long as he's able to get those soft underneath matchups and be able to find open space and find work for himself, he's going to be a thing for this Carolina offense and is someone that I am definitely willing to roster. Troy Franklin has it. Go ahead.
I was going to say that next guy that you have has been someone that since the end of last year I've been wanting. And when you say roster, this is the guy I'm going for.
Yeah, Troy Franklin is getting ready for dynasty managers to find his way off of their taxi squads and into their lineups. And for redraft managers, this is probably a guy that you want to head to the waiver wire and grab a lot sooner rather than later. Him and Bo Nix have a connection. That connection extends all the way back to college at Oregon, and we are starting to see it become alive and well in the NFL. When needed, Troy Franklin is there for the bailouts.
In the preseason, what we did see is that Troy Franklin came in better shape, seemed more serious than he did in his first year. We saw the chemistry in preseason as well. In underdog, he is rostered by me, I would say, in like 40-50% of my leagues. At the end, it just seemed like a free waiver grab. Same thing with Alex, same thing with Robinson. These guys are fringe flex plays. You really want to kind of dictate the matchup. Although I do think that the Broncos is a very tricky subject because we did think that Ingram was going to be more of that 2, but it definitely could be. I think Franklin, which would put him in a direct path to viability, as I think that Bo Nix is a better quarterback than some of these guys that we're talking about, and that Sean Payton's offense could lead to this kid develop. I think they use a third round pick on him, I believe.
Yeah.
So he was solid capital, and he had fallen in that draft. So there's a lot of things around Franklin that make me
It's
very interested.
it's Alec Ailman, it's just his name is Alec.
Yeah,
Because
his
I
name's
watched
crazy. That
yeah
touchdown though, that Cam threw, he's running across and threw it, and the
and
guy
threw it
caught it was
across
crazy.
his body, bro.
Yeah,
That was wild.
and as much as
Um,
great that was, I still take Trey Franklin first because I like that offense better than all the others.
Torrey Horton, maybe a guy to kind of look out for, more so a deeper league play. Uh, De'Ami Brown. De'Ami Brown. This is going to sound crazy, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it later, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. That may be the receiver to roster in Jacksonville. We'll talk more about why in a segment.
Oh,
Tez Walker, 1%. Again, I'm going to prescribe this as a deep league play if you need it. Tez Walker is not going to be the go-to target every week, week in, week out for Lamar Jackson. This was just one of those, we're up, we're whooping ass. Oh shit, you checked into the game and you're there. Let's spread the love. Isaac Tesla, it's one of those the plays that he makes you're so enamored by. But homie, only like it's just what, 2 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown on the season so far. Like some shit like that. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. Don't get fully enamored, but maybe someone to slowly look out for in that Detroit Lions offense. Getting into the Titans.
but I just want the thing that I hate about him because, like you said, his catches are eye catching and they're beautiful. But his path to relevance is behind too many guys that need to have something possibly happen, which is a game that you really don't want to play. If you have super deep leagues, maybe you can hold on to them. But the way JMO and Sun God are playing, he won't get enough targets to be viable. He'll be one of those guys that'll make Sports Center highlight catches, but will only get like maybe 3 or 4 targets a game. And he'll do some things were great, and maybe next year he might be something. With the construction of that team, it's a buyer beware situation.
But we're definitely throwing it out there,
Yep.
for one, deeper league play, but then also, hey, you never know, and we
Yeah.
also want
I
to
mean,
be, hey,
because
you heard it here.
Jimo can get hurt, Sangha can get hurt, and then he's viable. That's what it takes for him.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he's just on the depth chart, just too far down. The injury makes him relevant.
Harold Fannin Jr., 40% availability still. Look, this team is going to be passing. He's going to be utilized. They're lining him up there at tight end, at receiver, at everything, you name it. Go out there, buy the stock. We told you guys last week. We've been telling you guys even heading into the season about this sleeper. Look, buy the stock now. Buy the stock and then also go get you a Fannin Jr. rookie card because it's going to be worth something. You dig? Juwan Johnson needs to be rostered, especially in these early games, beginning of the season, because this is when he goes off. Yes, there is a period where we kind of see Juwan fade to darkness. We aren't in that part of the season. So right now, while you need a tight end and you need to win games, he's going to be a big primary target and a jump ball guy that they can utilize and a field stretch guy that they can utilize. And that's who you're going to want to go to. Tesla's not putting up the points for you to be startable in fantasy or to be rosterable yet, but it's a watch list. It's a
He's
watch.
someone that if you had him best ball, it's cool because any week that he
Yep.
goes off, you get him in with like a big long touchdown. But like he might catch one bomb a game, and you really can't bank on that in fantasy.
Yeah. Jonnu, a guy that you can possibly think about. And then also Pat Fry, even. I have been kind of seeing, he's likely gonna be rostered, but definitely I might be trying to like low key trade for Pat Fry because I know I don't have to like pay a whole lot because it's not like the big sexy name. So just want to message. But then finally to round out the tight ends, Zach Ertz, 45% availability. This is the good old-fashioned, old reliable. Tight ends seem to be in the NFL. They get better with age. We've seen this time and time again. Zach Ertz is still going out there and getting it done. And even if it is going to potentially be a backup quarterback, then even more, I love Zach Ertz because what do backups love? What do rookie quarterbacks love? They love a good old-fashioned tight end bailout. They love dinking and dunking to the tight end. So Zach Ertz is going to eat for fantasy managers. That is our waiver wire. We also answered some of you guys' fantasy football questions throughout that. Feel free to keep rattling those off in the live chat. We greatly appreciate it. We have a couple of things to talk about. Taco, let's talk about Brian Thomas Jr. I kind of already teased it when I said that we were going to talk about De'Ami Brown and, the need to roster him. Should fantasy managers be worried about the play of BTJ after reviewing the film? Chat, don't worry. I have reviewed the film.
Oh,
it's scathing.
God. In my 14-team league, my first pick was BTJ. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Not only is he my first pick, but it's 14, so it just feels so much worse. And I am honest with you. I saw a video you posted, I believe. Maybe it was someone else watching and showing his effort. Oh my God. It was scary because it just looks like he's like not interested. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like when you watch a guy that's like extremely like fired up, locked in, like my man is gonna go get it. My man is like, yo, what are we having for lunch? Anybody know if we having the crustables with the honey or the jam? That's how my man's looking right now. Like he just does not care. And maybe I'm venting a little bit because he's on my roster and he's had a solid amount of targets with not much production. I think he has about 3 catches on the year. So yeah, no, I mean we seen him get a chance in a touchdown late, got it and dropped it. Like, there was a hit involved, but we are looking at BTJ as one of those receivers. I believe he went to LSU. In my understanding, that he went, that produces elite top flight wide receivers, like uncut from the gut. These boys are nasty, and he's coming out like a little like, like I'm like, yo, bro, this ain't that shit I'm used to. Like, what's going on here, buddy? It's not the same quality. Like, and that's where I'm feeling about BTJ. He's not producing that LSU number one receiver that so many of us in fantasy have come to rely on. It's almost like top receiver out of LSU. Where's he going to land up? He's going to be great. Pretty sure Justin Jefferson. Pretty sure it was Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors. He was just having that feeling. I don't think that we have that coming. We have to hope that it comes back. But I'm scared because he didn't do it last thing. He didn't do it last year with Lawrence. He did it with macaroni and cheese. So this is just a continuation of what happened in the fucking beginning of last year. That's what has me even more freaked out.
Looking at the film from this past weekend, I understand people wanting to kind of, say, oh, well, it's very hard to blame Lawrence when these are fucking dimes that are being placed in your catch radius and you're just taking your eyes off the ball. You're unnecessarily jumping. Even the biggest thing that pisses me off, and this is what pisses me off as a former football player, as someone that has played, and as someone that has coached, the not diving on the what could have been a potential fumble, and then Lawrence having to spin back around, coming off block, and making the pursuit angle to stop that from turning into 6. When during that whole interaction, it lands in the region where BTJ can fall on, And even if BTJ falls on it, now to bring it back to fantasy football, to us, hey, that's just a fumble and it's a fumble recovery to the viewer that may just be watching the game at home. For those of us that play fantasy football, hey, that could have been a first down. And you fall on that, that's first down points for me. If you're in a league that gets first down bonuses, So from the fantasy football standpoint, for our little game, our fake game, it's, hey, there's that aspect. If you're a fan, it's, hey, I'm enraged. You're supposed to be our guy. You were our top pick a couple of years ago, and what the fuck is going on? Why aren't you? Why are you afraid of contact? Why are you shying away from contact? I'm sorry, but you need to be able to make those catches across the middle this is the NFL. This is the NFL.
And you're supposed to be an alpha.
Yep. Hey, I'll be going to see a horror CTE movie this weekend. Jordan Peele. Like, look, you get paid millions of dollars. You sold for this, bro. Like,
you went to school for this, literally.
bro, like it's a part of it. The contact is a part of it. It's unfortunate, but you're also getting paid millions of dollars, and I hate utilizing that argument. But also, like, you chose this. If you don't want it, there's somebody out there that'd be willing, that wants the dream, that has been working just as hard as you have worked, but probably didn't get afforded the same opportunities, that is willing to go out there and fucking take that pass across the middle. So I'm not sitting here saying that BTJ is not startable.
So he started when he drafted in the first round.
You're starting him because you draft him in the first round. But I am saying, look for a fucking trade partner real quick, real fast, in a hurry.
Come October, my man is going to find himself on the other side if you don't pick this shit up. Tell you that shit right now.
There are, and a lot of people, like in forums and in the comment sections, in different fantasy football groups and that I'm in, like group chats I'm in. Oh well, what about these other receivers that are like in that same range where BTJ is? They aren't doing the same things. Their issues may be they're going to be dealing with a quarterback that may be out for a period of time, or they may be dealing with hey, it's only 2 weeks in, so it's like or either they've been playing ahead, so they haven't had to utilize that person, or it's been different things. It hasn't been this. This is glaring. This is inexcusable.
Could you imagine that QJ would be destroying BTJ to start the season? That's where we're at, guys. That's where we're at. Body catcher, revenge of the body catchers.
Yeah, Lockett avoids a hit, but does it after the catch, not before. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Because I'd already went back and I had watched it, but then Aiden had sent me a clip of a TikToker kind of going a little giving their take, and I was like, what I was already seeing was bad. But I was like, you know what? Let me give him a little bit of grace. My fantasy football brain was like, let me give him a little bit of grace. And then when I saw that clip that I shared with you, I was like, no, I'm not giving you no fucking grace, because now like everyone is seeing it. And I can't sit back and be in denial about it to now my fan base, to now my followers.
All of us right now are Mike Rabel looking at Hendo. 3 holding calls. Trash on that bench.
That situation is going to be interesting, because as much as that situation is really just Hendo getting tough love from Vrabel, like,
you can't hold that many times, bro. Like that's.
But then also like we didn't anticipate Ramadre coming out and looking decent either.
I mean, it's Ramondre. Like, it's what he does. Like, he'll break him off every now and then. He's a serviceable guy. Like, we always thought it'd be like a backfield, but we just thought that Hendo would be so dynamic that it'd be like undeniable.
We're also getting the presentation of everyone of not everyone, but majority, at a decent amount of health right now. This NFL, no one's 100% healthy. But like we are getting it's the beginning of the season, so like there is that factor to it too.
Yep.
I want to get into the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-0. That's right, 2-0. Following the performance of Daniel Jones, Mr. Indiana Jones is what they're calling him now. Back-to-back weeks, the question is starting to beg. Was New York the problem this whole time? Barkley left, goes to Philly, gets a Super Bowl. Daniel Jones leaves. It's only been 2 games, but looks like he's been capable of playing fucking ball the whole time.
Okay, let's be first and foremost. Saquon Barkley was screwed over, and I said it from the beginning. I said the way they did that contract was fucking stupid, and that he should leave and go get his money. He went and left it like the best fucking team in the league, minus the Chiefs. It was like the best NFC team. And when you look at the way they played, he was the perfect fit. So that to me is just like elite talent being fumbled and allowing the rival to run with it. Daniel Jones is a different scenario because I think the pressure of where he's drafted created a larger pressure on himself, which he's just a good, humble kid. Okay. You could tell it impacted him mentally because he wanted to be good and he just like, it's like, when you go out sometimes and you try to bag girl, you feeling real like I need it, I gotta get it. So you go on mad hard, you get nothing, and then you chilling back at Checkers and you just talking some shit and I don't want to tell you his number. Like what? That's exactly I think what's happening with Daniel Jones right now. He's not in that pressure cooker situation, so he's just dripping and swagging. And everybody like, oh shit, white boy got some moves. And right now he's looking like what was that one movie in the football where the white guy at the end he won and he goes with the sisters and shit. I forgot the name of the movie. You know which one I'm talking about. Is it the new guy or some
new guy?
Shit like
The
that?
new guy.
But like that's exactly how Daniel Jones is. He gonna be out in Atlanta and everybody gonna be like, I mean in the like, hey, Danny. He gonna be like, I got that New York drip. What's good, girl?
Oh my gosh, I
she
am
like me because the
dead.
way I talk. You know what I mean? She like my chain. She like me because I'm from New York.
I am dead. Look, the Colts have basically not punted in 2 games. That's impressive. That is immaculate.
Top tier coaching.
It is the perfect beginning of the season love story. We love shit like this. Every year, the NFL picks one of these quarterbacks that go on the quarterback carousel, the journeyman carousel, and they're like, and you're anointed.
First we had Baker.
Yeah, I was about to say Baker.
Then we had Gino. Now all of a sudden, Danny said, I'm back.
Exactly. We had Sam Darnold last year. Like, I mean,
come on, with a name like Dimes, it's only right that and now he's dropping dimes. Now he's actually dropping the dimes.
Look, comeback player of the year is it's.
But you know what? Though? I will say there's 2 things about Daniel Jones that is different. One, he spent that last bit of time with Minnesota. 2, this new coach. I think the combination of that, because everyone said that Minnesota is a QB whisperer, and he wanted Daniel Jones back. And Daniel Jones left because they were giving him a direct shot to start. So Daniel Jones bet on himself wanting this. That's a dog.
I'll say this.
That's a dog.
I'll say this. It's interesting. It's the perfect beginning of the season love affair. For the sake of fantasy, don't come crashing down yet. Because when it all falls down, we have a fantasy question. The Smitty says, I'm 0-2 in a 2 QB league. Dale's quest. I think he said Daniel's next. Purdy out. Backups are Ward and Rattler. Oh shit. Running backs are Hendo, Monty, Brian Robinson Jr. and Connors. Okay, hey, having James Connors good. Oh, hey, and we got Bill. Okay, Browning and Mac Jones are on the waiver wire. Who would you prioritize? What order? So you said Daniel Jones. 2 QB league. Daniels question. Purdy's out. Oh, Daniels is questionable. Jaden Daniels. I'm sorry, questionable. I see now. All right, so Jaden Daniels questionable. So first, if Jaden Daniels is going to go, we're going to ride with the better talent, and just hope that he stays healthy for 4 quarters of football for you. Now,
So that's Bill.
Huh?
Merritt is Bill, right?
Yeah. Should Daniels not play? Because this is really about your quarterback situation. This question. Should Daniels not play? Purdy's not going to be out there. I would probably prioritize Browning over Mac Jones. Mac looked good, but I don't trust Mac. I do trust Zach Taylor just a little bit more. Calling the plays and at least putting Browning in a situation where he can succeed, and Browning having the talent around him to where there's a chance that he can be successful for you. So that's kind of how I play that.
I probably would do opposite. I would take the running back because Hendo has been Monty. I'm not sold, whereas Merritt does have that potential to possibly be the RB1. And I would take Mac Jones after that because you have Purdy, so it's a handcuff for you. So when Mac Jones is finally done, you're putting Purdy back in, kind of thing. So you're not losing. I think that Browning would possibly just be a bench guy for you after a couple of weeks, where Merritt could work his way into your 2 RB setup, particularly as you start hitting bye weeks and having to fill in for players. I think getting an RB with that kind of potential workload upside makes more sense because you have Daniels and because you have Purdy.
Oh shit! See, it's a 2 QB league. Because I was gonna say, see if you can go Darnold. Yeah. So for me personally, I'm prioritizing, getting at least one of those quarterbacks. I mean, you could probably throw Ward over Rattler out there, but I'm prioritizing probably getting Browning. Merritt would be the next that I'd probably would try and snag. And then Taco's point, maybe I'm unleashing, Hendo for Bill. That's the way I would do it. I want to use Browning for a trade in the future since Purdy would be coming back, and that's perfect. So then you're already thinking ahead of time. Then yes, then get the back.
Especially if you have an idea of players that you can trade with, that you might have like a good rapport with and done deals before, then that's a complete different way to approach this. Because when your guy's healthy again, you can move him for that running back, wide receiver, or whatever other position you might need.
I was asked today, and this was more of like just a general fantasy football question that I was asked. And I said, hey, I'll address it on the show. Studs have been dudding lately, and data shows that this is normal. I mean, as of last week, like we know this. We've been playing fantasy football for a long time, so like we're familiar with the kind of just like the ebbs and flows of how the natural order of things go. When like we get that this is normal for September football, but when should fantasy managers start, kind of removing the blinders on certain players? I mean, AJ Brown is on pace to being a fantasy bust. Travion Henderson needing more touches.
Like AJ Brown, we looked at that going in, and you were anticipating that they changed their game plan. When you bought AJ Brown, you knew what you were getting. I don't think you can. You kind of just like, hey, to me, AJ Brown is the ultimate like lotto ticket. He can either get you 5 for 100 in a touchdown, or he's going to get you 5. You know what I mean? That is what it is. But you already made that pivot. If you can trade him, sure. I'm trying to put him in any deal I can with someone else that could believe it. But he's also not someone that you're going to really bench, because I doubt there's someone on your bench that's going to have that 60-yard touchdown upside that Brown has on every single play, and that's the worst part about him. You might get that every 3 games. So at the end of the day, it is what you signed up for. Hendo, I think, is a lot worse because in the preseason we were all enamored with his big play potential, and all we've seen is him not.
We see flashes, back and
Yeah,
forth, like with Hendo. Hendo's still, the jury is still out. There's somewhere where like you just gotta kind of do a temperature check.
the problem with him is the same thing that it is for most rookie running backs. It's that he's not able to stay on the field because of some of the non-running things that he does. Whether it be the holding penalties, whether it be your blocking assignments, whether it be what you're doing in that passing offense when you're not receiving the ball. And Mike Vrabel is not the kind of coach that's going to tolerate that.
Would you trade Nico for Tet and Javonte Williams? Because of what Javonte is doing right now, and I think that could be sustainable as long as Dallas. Even if something were to happen with Dak, I still think it would be sustainable as long as Javonte is healthy. It's sustainable. I feel like in Dallas.
There's also injury.
That is where I worry.
I mean,
just because Carolina doesn't play enough consistent football.
I can definitely. Now, and we are seeing Tet being a solid, consistent player so far, volume-wise. But again, Nico's upside is the highest in this deal. But you also have to worry about the injury potential with Nico, as he does have a bunch of different injuries so far in these last couple of seasons that do give him a higher risk than some of these other guys, including the rookie. Personally, it would depend on my roster, but I think I would lean to maybe doing that deal. Because right now, low-key could be a touchdown a game guy.
I mean, right now, Tech gave you 11 in week 1, 17 last week. They're playing the Falcons. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a divisional matchup. They're projected for 14.7. I just not sure. With Ted, I would like to see more before I'm trying to go and get him. But I will say this, I do like that trade, and now that is one that would tempt me where I'd be almost be like, you know what, right now, yeah.
It really depends on how you feel about. It really depends on how you feel about Nico, because he's the player that really matters. Do you love him? Do you hate him? If you love him, it's hard to do that deal. If you're afraid about him, then you do that deal.
Would you trade Mbuka and Hubbard for Evans and Sutton? Everyone's worried about Mbuka when Godwin comes back, and I'm worried about Godwin when Godwin comes back, because I feel like Mbuka is going to have something so well established with Baker, and the Bucs have been kind of looking for that low key. And I also think that Godwin knows that the Bucs have kind of been like.
But Godwin, the season before that, was performing like a wide receiver number 7 overall.
This is very, very, very true.
I would say personally,
Mbuka's one of those ones where if you're gonna get off the train, then you need to commit to doing it.
You got to get off the train before Godwin comes back.
Yep, absolutely. You have to do it before Godwin comes back, because when Godwin comes back, that affects everything.
We got to go take a look. Let's take a look at his numbers.
Hubbard is, there's no one else back there like commanding touches in Carolina. I almost kind of want to hang on to Hubbard. They're utilizing him in the passing game. They're utilizing him in between the tackles. I almost want to hold on to Hubbard. Evans is going to be consistent. Sutton is going to have his weeks, but then there's also going to be those Troy Franklin weeks, and we just have to accept that's the new ish in Denver, and that's what's going to be going down in Denver.
See, my thing right now with Mbuka is that he's gotten 6 and 7 targets in the first 2 games, whereas you look at Mike Evans getting 8 and 11 targets. I think once you get Chris Godwin back, you can look at Mbuka losing some more of that target share. Whereas I do think that Sutton at the end of the year will be the alpha receiver on that team. He looked the part, and he was already complaining on the sidelines. So I'm expecting a squeaky wheel game from Sutton coming up. I do think
I would do it. I would do it.
Yeah, I would do it.
But make sure your running backs that you have remaining are good.
1,000%. You got to have backs, because Hubbard is the safest player in the deal. The other two guys have the more upside season long.
Yeah, I would do it though. I would do it though because I'm assuming without you tell me your whole roster, I'm assuming you got mad depth.
Yeah, or at least some back.
Couple of things that I just want to leave everyone with here. Acceptance, early acceptance. This is just overreactions based off of 2 weeks of football. They're not necessarily overreactions because this is what we know. These are things that we've seen. Could this change? Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how this segment of the podcast changes. But as things stand right now, through 2 weeks of fantasy football, AJ Brown is on pace to being a fantasy bust. I'm not starting him this week. There's unless I absolutely, without a doubt, don't have someone that like I could be like, yeah, for sure. But like, luckily on most of my teams, I build pretty damn good rosters, and I'm willing to throw whoever the fuck out.
Are you starting Troy Franklin or AJ Brown?
I'm probably willing to throw Troy out there. It's 3 weeks in. I have nothing, like I need to learn the team, learn it as it flows. I'm willing to.
Would you start Alec? Would you start Alec or would you start AJ?
Who?
Alec Ayumanor.
Likely. There's a chance. Being that that's a Tennessee offense, probably not. I would just be hoping for AJ to get his shit together. The thing is with AJ Brown is I don't see things getting any better this week. So pretty much damn near anything and everything seems better than AJ Brown. You're going up against a Rams team that defense is fucking nasty.
Who would you rather start, Chris Olave or AJ Brown?
Fuck the Saints. Acceptance. After 2 weeks of football, Micah Parsons will be Defensive Player of the Year.
He's on award tour.
Travion Henderson does need more touches. Period. Point blank. End of story.
Yes,
Daniel Jones is on a resurgence similar to Baker Mayfield. We brought that up multiple times. We spent the offseason talking about this quarterback situation a lot. I brought it up earlier in the show. Dylan Gabriel is going to be QB1 for the Cleveland Browns by next month. Rumtober, it's happening. And I'm even going to call it second Sunday of October. They're not going to be able to sustain with what's being put out on the field. Max Crosby will finally be first team All-Pro. And Ashton Jeanty will not win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Those three top running backs that were drafted this year all feel like they're vying for the Clyde Edwards-Helaire Award.
Hampton, I'm okay with
that fumble, bro. He never came back from the fumble.
It was a drop. It wasn't a fumble. But Hampton, I'm okay with because they're still playing him on 80% of the fucking snaps. On 80%, like they're still putting him out there. He is the lead back. Like they're not really trusting Najee. Najee's more so third quarter, fourth quarter, kind of change of pace. But Hampton is out there, and Hampton is still being trusted in situations. Even when Hampton messes up, Harbaugh's still putting him out there.
All right, so reading directly from the Yahoo report, perhaps more crucially, a botched handoff on the Chargers' penultimate possession directly led to a fumble, which gave the Raiders a modicum of life. Then Harris finished off the ensuing series to ice the game. We're seeing
Oh, at
Harris,
the end. Yeah, at the end of
yeah,
the game. Yeah.
which I don't know how that plays into the beginning of the new game because that shit cost them the game, right?
What? No.
The no, they won, but
Yeah, the Chargers won,
would have
bro.
cost them the game. It would
Bro,
have been
the Chargers were whooping their ass so bad that that collectively as a YouTube channel, we were like, let's go. We all left.
it's one of those ones where you gotta hope the coach doesn't really make a example out of it, like for a week to like kind of like, boy, you don't mess up my ball and you maintain because in practice
Harbaugh's
when you
not like
see
that.
those videos,
Harbaugh's not like that.
when you see those videos,
If it were any other coach, if it were a couple of different coaches, I won't say any other coach. If it were a couple of different coaches, I would say yes. Harbaugh's not like that.
I'll see this also in practice. You see Najee's running a lot harder now. I don't know if that's because Najee has something to prove, or the kid is feeling super comfortable, but there's a little cost to pause for all three of the rookie running backs. They should be fine by the end of the year. But this is not college. This is the pros, kids. And this shows, like I said, that CEH award, that shit is real. There's a lot of hype around these rookie running backs, but you still got to produce. And like Clyde never produced for you. These guys might not produce for
you. I'm gonna say this. Clyde's rookie year wasn't too bad. It wasn't too. It didn't warrant what people were drafting him.
Exactly.
But we see this with rookie running backs all the time.
To that
point though, everyone they'll all be fine. I'm not going to. I'm pressing the panic button a little bit on Genty. Just because it's been preseason, it's been 2 games in the regular season, and I don't see with the other 2 that I just mentioned, hell, I'll even throw Harvey in there. I'm not seeing with the other rookies, that I'm seeing with Genty. The quite adjustment. Yes, there is definitely, okay, they're a rookie. Okay, they're still learning the offense. They're still learning the social cues. They're still learning the chemistry. They're still learning the tendencies of, not just their team, but the teams that they're facing. So there's like a whole lot that goes in that's baked into all of that. He said, hey, how about 1 truck per game? Exactly. Genty has that, and that's been what we've seen. That has been the highlight.
And piggyback on that too, Caleb Johnson don't even make the conversation anymore. That's how bad he's been.
Caleb Johnson doesn't make the conversation anymore, but we kind of, as the season got closer, we kind of started seeing that a little bit because Tomlin started being more candid.
But even the fumble that he had on the hands, he was just like, holy shit,
bro. Like it's there. Like I said, it's a learning curve. We'll continue to monitor these rookies. Caleb Johnson, you should probably have already dropped off of your.
Would you drop him or would you keep him on the bottom of your roster?
Oh, he's dropped. I've already dropped. I mean, except in Dynasty, I obviously have him on a taxi. But should I trade Jameson Williams and Tony Pollard for Hubbard and Ted? No. That is way too much Carolina. Yeah, that is way too much Carolina. That is way too much of a offense that doesn't produce consistently. You are better off diversifying your portfolio with those 2. I'd prefer you just find a single for Pollard and you keep JMO. JMO is going to be a home run hit. You're going to want to have JMO this year.
Send him Tony Pollard and a little something for Tua.
Yeah,
find a little piece at the end of your bench to add with Tony to see if you can get him to do it.
Yep. Here's Tony Pollard. Hey, last year finished as a top 24 running back. He's the go-to guy in that Tennessee
offense. Here's Tony Pollard and Wandale Robinson. Have some fun.
Oh my gosh. Give a better piece than that. But I mean, like maybe it's Pollard and Shakir or something or the other to bring back, Hubbard. I think that's a great trade package, and that person should accept that if they're smart for their fantasy team. Other than that, I already put that up. Holy shit. Wow, Robbie. Other than that, it's been a dope show. Tomorrow night, AMA, I will be on for about an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours if we get it really, really popping. But tomorrow, AMA, I'll go ahead and I'll post that stream after this stream in so that you guys can head over and hit the bell. Any last words?
Nah, man. I think the number one thing that I'm looking out for is, will Drake London come back?
Other than that, that's Taco. I'm Robbie. Cheers to me. Cheers to you. All the Rum Boys and Girls. What to do? Dilly dilly. We're the Goal Line Goons.
Yeah.